Nick encourages Sally to discover her true desires. Meanwhile, Jill is outraged and demands explanations for Nate's betrayal. Drama about the young and agitated. Adam tries to reassure Connor. Billy offers to stay as long as Lily needs, and Devon and Nate quarrel about Neil's legacy on today's episode of The Young and the Restless. Adam goes to Crimson Lights with Connor after receiving a call from Sally. He expresses his and his wife's undying affection for their young son. Connor feels his mother's love for him has diminished over the years. A physical distance between us exists. His dad has always told him that his mom's whole world revolves around him. Right now, she's just going through a rough patch, and it's not his responsibility to make her feel better. Connor thinks Johnny is involved here. They don't need him because they're a complete unit already. The youngster argues that if she misses him so much, she should never have given him up. Adam fumbles his way through an explanation. He claims that they were both committed to raising him, but that life events caused difficulties. That he cares deeply for him is something that will never alter. To him, he has an open-door policy. His mom was afraid of what would happen if she didn't tell him the secret about Johnny, so she told him instead. This is all relayed to Chelsea as she arrives. She cuts in, giving her son his school bag. Even though he doesn't want to, she insists he go fetch a croissant for her and her father while she chats. The narcissistic Chelsea promises Adam that she would make him become a better person by changing his mother. Whether or not that is simple is something Adam is unsure of. Onto the patio walk Chelsea and Adam. He thinks they should hire someone to talk to their kid about what happened with Johnny. She agrees with him that she is right but worries that she will take the fall. Chelsea has failed her children and is embarrassed of it, but she will do anything for Connor. Meanwhile, she's hoping for assistance from her exes. For her sake, he needs to cease passing judgment. He says he hasn't been there and he means it. She needs to quit considering him the adversary. Connor emerges from hiding and announces his intention to visit the ranch. He hardly acknowledges his mother's "love you" before he's out the door. Popular rivalries in daytime TV shows like The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, and Days of Our Lives. Lily and Billy, both employees at Chancellor Winters, are upset by Nate's actions and vent to one another in the workplace. He may have guessed that Adam, but not a good guy like Nate, would do anything like this. He reassures her that the focus is on Devon and Nate, and not on them. The worst part, she says, is that she truly believed her family was different from the Newmans and the Abbotts. As it turns out, they aren't any better. Billy promises to stay until the IPO is finalized since he wants to help in any way he can. His abrupt departure after Nate's dismissal could be seen as unprofessional. She and his mother need financial support while the business is in transition, and he plans to provide that. She does not wish to impede his progress toward his goals. Like her, Lily believes he has the right to achieve happiness and fulfillment in life. They will eventually have to break the news to Jill that he is leaving. Billy is worried his communication to his mother regarding the Nate problem was not properly received. I doubt either of them is eager to have a conversation with Jill. Until mansions for sale. In the beginning of the video call, Jill demands to know how they could have let Nate's condition come to this. She had no idea that Lily's family would eventually bring the company's history to an end. Nate was never a threat in Jill's eyes, but then she didn't spend her days working right next to him. Billy defends Lily, but his mother remains unconvinced. While Lily respects the explanation, as CEO she is aware that no justifications will be accepted. She is taking all blame for it. Nate was let go but is unable to liquidate his stock. Thus yet, no irreparable harm has been done. Both Billy's mother and girlfriend strongly advise him to go to the park when he receives a text from Victoria, reminding him that he and Victoria are meant to be there with the kids. After he leaves, Jill inquires as to Lily's ongoing concerns. Lily reveals to Devon that their shared worry is centered on Tucker's imminent homecoming. The waters are not safe, even if he is not the guy Nate was plotting with. Jill is still set on moving forward with the initial public offering. Chelsea, while sitting in the park, reflects on her confrontation with Connor, during which she tried to make him realize her pride in him. Billy appears and inquires as to her well-being. The constant self-pity has gotten to her. The abbot is praying she can keep it together, but Victoria and the kids are coming over, and it's probably better if she isn't there. Nate, at his penthouse, bemoans the fact that the takeover is the only way he can show himself to Devon. He claims that Devon lacks leadership skills and cannot give others adequate personal space. He is incapable of delegating responsibility or putting faith in others. Devon describes the social order and his own position within it. To hear Nate tell it, there was never any personal connection here. This is a bitter pill for his cousin to swallow. He tells Nate that Elena has been staying in a motel, and Nate accuses him of stalking his ex-girlfriend in the same way that Victor did with Elena. Devon becomes even more irritated by this and accuses him of living a victim's life and creating a mess of his life. Nate responds by calling him a control freak and saying he would never forgive him for what happened to his hand. Devon points out to him, "You had sex with my girlfriend." They can't seem to stop talking about how much they've hurt each other and how much they've tried to construct new lives for themselves. Nate says he had forgiven Devon, but Devon has brought all their past animosity back to the surface. He was eager to throw himself into his new life in Chancellor Winters, but Devon was holding him back. Clearly, he has some underlying issues. They evaluate each other based on their past performance and the manner in which they were given their current positions. Devon deeply regrets having assumed that Nate was capable of intelligent behavior. He lacks the capacity for humility and is too proud to act otherwise. Because of this, he nearly ruined the family name. The worst part is that he and Neil established this business, and Nate attempted to steal it from them. Nate explains condescendingly how the corporation is structured by saying, "It's not your and Neil's business anymore." Devon is even more enraged by this. He claims his relative can't match Neil's professionalism. Nate thinks Devon won't let anyone replace Neil since she's so insecure about herself. Devon would rather not have this discussion. He claims ignorance of what Neil would have wanted. If he were still alive, he'd never forgive him. Exiting, Devon. While at Newman Media, Nick stops by Sally's office. She fills him in on the visit from his daughter earlier in the day. In addition, he tells her that Summer had stopped over to see him. They surmise that the talks were comparable. Even if he feels his daughter went too far, she finds it endearing that she was being so protective. Both parties took the high road and insisted they were merely pals. The name Adam is brought up for discussion. Both of them noticed how disheveled he was and realized that he must be feeling rather low after spending so much time with them. Sally regrets the incident, but she can do nothing about it now. In this context, she discusses the Connor incident. Nick sympathizes with his nephew's current predicament, but assures her that it is not her fault. She says Connor told her that he feels partly responsible for his father's current state of mental anguish because of her. It's not about her, he reassures her. The reason Adam went out drinking last night in her mind is because she rejected him. It's clear that she made an impression on him, and by extension Connor. Nick doesn't buy into that reasoning. Sally can't stand seeing her ex-girlfriend down and out, especially now that things are going so well for her. She enjoys Nick's company, but not as much as she is reassured by his remark that she need not complete the notion. That whatsoever is taking place between them must do so at her pace. At the very least, he understands how sincere Adam's affections for her are and how much he regrets driving her out of his life. The majority of what his sibling has lost is due to his own actions. However, if she is conflicted, he should back off. Sally assumes they can handle business better than they can handle their feelings. Nick agrees that they share a strong chemistry, but he feels it isn't enough. The question of what she wants remains unanswered.